What if I told you that one simple morning habit, something you can eat in less than 2 minutes, could quietly help restore circulation where men over 60 worry about it most? No pills, no embarrassment. Just a choice you make before your day even begins. Let me tell you about Robert. As men move past the age of 60, many notice changes in their bodies that feel confusing, frustrating, and sometimes frightening. One of the most common misunderstandings is the belief that reduced performance or responsiveness down there means desire is fading or masculinity is being lost. In reality, for most men, desire remains very much alive. What changes first is circulation. Blood flow naturally becomes less efficient with age due to gradual stiffening of blood vessels, reduced elasticity in the arteries, and a decline in the body's production of nitric oxide, a molecule that helps blood vessels relax and widen. When blood cannot flow as freely as it once did, the areas that rely most heavily on strong circulation are the first to show changes. This is why many men still feel interest, attraction, and emotional connection. Yet their bodies do not always respond in the same way as they did at 40 or 50. The mind is willing, but the blood flow is slower to arrive. This distinction is crucial because it reframes the problem from one of identity or aging masculinity to one of simple physiology. Circulation is a mechanical and chemical process influenced by diet, movement, sleep, stress, and daily habits. Masculinity, desire, and self-worth are not disappearing, they are simply being held back by narrower, less responsive blood vessels. As we age, the inner lining of our blood vessels, known as the endothelium, becomes less efficient. This lining plays a key role in releasing nitric oxide, which signals the vessels to relax and allow more blood through. When nitric oxide levels drop, vessels remain more constricted, blood pressure may rise, and circulation to peripheral areas becomes weaker. This process does not happen overnight, and it does not happen equally in every man, but it is extremely common. Importantly, it affects physical response long before it affects emotional or mental desire. Misinterpreting this change can cause unnecessary anxiety. Many men internalize the idea that something is wrong with them on a personal level. This stress response actually worsens the problem, because stress hormones like cortisol further restrict blood flow. Once fear enters the picture, a temporary circulation issue can become a persistent cycle of worry and reduced response. Understanding that the root issue is blood flow, not desire, immediately reduces that pressure and allows the body to respond more naturally. The encouraging truth is that circulation is one of the most modifiable aspects of aging. Blood vessels respond positively to consistent, gentle support through nutrition, physical activity, hydration, and proper rest. Even small improvements in blood flow can lead to noticeable changes in warmth, sensitivity, and responsiveness. This is why doctors often say that what benefits the heart also benefits circulation down there. The same pathways that deliver blood to the heart and brain are responsible for delivering it everywhere else. Another important point is that desire is driven by hormones, emotions, memory, and connection, all of which can remain strong well into later life. Testosterone does decline with age, but usually not to zero, and often not enough to eliminate interest or attraction. When a man still feels desire but experiences reduced physical response, it is a strong signal that circulation is the limiting factor. Recognizing this helps men shift their focus from shame or self-blame to practical, empowering actions that support vascular health. A short example illustrates this clearly. Imagine a 66-year-old man who still feels close to his partner, still experiences attraction, and still wants intimacy, but notices inconsistency in his physical response. At first, he assumes this means he is getting old, in the worst way, and starts avoiding intimacy out of embarrassment. Later, after learning about circulation, he makes a few changes, he improves his morning nutrition, starts walking daily, and focuses on foods that support blood vessel health. Within weeks, he notices better warmth and responsiveness returning. Nothing about his desire changed, it was there all along. What changed was his blood flow. This understanding is powerful because it replaces fear with clarity. Aging does not erase desire, it challenges circulation. And circulation, unlike time itself, can be supported. When men understand this difference, they stop seeing their bodies as failing and start seeing them as responding to care. That shift alone can restore confidence, reduce stress, and open the door to natural improvements that support healthy aging with dignity and strength. As men move past 60, the timing of what they eat becomes just as important as what they eat, especially when it comes to circulation. The morning is a unique biological window when the body is especially responsive to nutrients that support blood flow. After several hours of overnight fasting, insulin levels are low, digestion is calm, and blood vessels are primed to respond to signals that tell them to relax and widen. This makes the first meal of the day a powerful opportunity to influence circulation for hours afterward, including circulation to areas that depend on strong, steady blood flow. During sleep, the body focuses on repair rather than intake. By morning, glycogen stores are partially depleted, and the cardiovascular system is highly sensitive to nutritional cues. When circulation-supporting foods are consumed at this time, the body is more efficient at converting their compounds into useful molecules like nitric oxide. Nitric oxide plays a critical role in relaxing blood vessels, improving their flexibility, and allowing blood to move more freely through even the smallest capillaries. For older men, whose blood vessels may have become stiffer over time, this responsiveness is especially important. Eating the same foods later in the day does not produce the same effect. As the day goes on, blood sugar fluctuations, stress hormones, physical fatigue, and heavier meals can dull the body's vascular response. By evening, blood vessels are often less reactive, digestion is slower, and the benefits of circulation-supporting nutrients are reduced. This is why many men who eat healthy still struggle with circulation. They may be eating the right foods, but at the wrong time. Morning nutrition helps establish what can be thought of as a circulation rhythm. When blood vessels receive early signals to relax and open, blood flow improves not just temporarily, but systemically. Better circulation in the morning means better oxygen delivery, better nerve signaling, and better tissue responsiveness throughout the day. This is particularly meaningful for men over 60, because circulation issues rarely affect just one area of the body. Supporting blood flow early benefits the heart, brain, muscles, and intimate function all at once. Another key factor is hormonal balance. Cortisol, the body's natural wake-up hormone, peaks in the morning. In healthy amounts, cortisol helps mobilize energy and increase alertness, but it can also constrict blood vessels if not balanced properly. Morning foods that support nitric oxide production help counteract this effect, keeping blood vessels relaxed rather than tense. This balance is harder to achieve later in the day, when stress hormones may already be elevated due to work, worry, or fatigue. The morning is also when habits are easiest to maintain. A simple, consistent routine rather than complex interventions produces the most lasting results. Men who support circulation early often notice that their bodies feel warmer, more responsive, and more energetic as the day goes on. Over time, these small daily signals add up, helping blood vessels retain flexibility and improving overall vascular health. Importantly, this approach works with the body instead of forcing it. Rather than relying on stimulants or last-minute solutions, morning nutrition gently nudges the circulatory system in the right direction when it is most receptive. This reduces pressure, lowers anxiety, and helps restore confidence naturally. When the body is supported early, it does not have to catch up later. A simple example makes this clear. Consider a 65-year-old man who usually skips breakfast or eats something processed late in the morning. He notices low energy and inconsistent circulation throughout the day. After learning about timing, he begins eating a small, nutrient-rich breakfast shortly after waking, including foods known to support blood flow. Within a few weeks, he notices that his body feels more responsive earlier in the day, his energy is steadier, and his confidence improves without any drastic changes. The food itself mattered, but the timing made the difference. Morning is not just the start of the day. It is the foundation for how the body circulates, responds, and performs. For men over 60, using this window wisely can quietly but powerfully support blood flow where it matters most, proving that small, well-timed choices can have lasting effects on health and vitality. Nitric oxide plays a quiet but critical role in how well blood moves through the body, and for men over 60, it often becomes the missing link between desire, intention, and physical response. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule produced inside the lining of blood vessels. Its primary job is to tell those vessels to relax and widen so blood can flow freely. When nitric oxide levels are strong, circulation is smooth, pressure is balanced, and tissues receive the oxygen and nutrients they need. When levels decline, blood vessels remain more constricted, circulation slows, and areas that rely on rapid, robust blood flow are affected first. As men age, the body naturally produces less nitric oxide. This decline is influenced by multiple factors, including reduced activity of the endothelial cells that line the blood vessels, increased oxidative stress, inflammation, and lifestyle habits accumulated over decades. The result is stiffer arteries, less flexible blood vessels, and weaker circulation. This change is gradual, which is why many men do not notice it immediately. Instead, they notice the consequences: colder extremities, slower recovery, reduced stamina, and diminished responsiveness down there, even though interest and desire may still be present. Nitric oxide is especially important because it works at the very first step of circulation. It does not force blood through the vessels. It creates the conditions that allow blood to flow naturally. Without sufficient nitric oxide, even a healthy heart has to work harder to push blood through narrower pathways. Over time, this strain affects the entire circulatory system. For intimate function, which depends on rapid blood vessel relaxation and increased blood volume in a short period of time, nitric oxide is absolutely essential. Many men mistakenly believe that reduced performance is caused only by hormones or aging itself. While hormones do play a role, nitric oxide often determines whether the body can physically respond to those hormonal signals. A man may feel mentally ready and emotionally connected, but if nitric oxide levels are low, the blood vessels simply do not open enough to support a strong response. Understanding this difference is empowering because nitric oxide production can be supported through daily habits, especially nutrition. Certain foods contain natural compounds that the body uses to produce nitric oxide more efficiently. These include dietary nitrates, amino acids like L-arginine, and antioxidants that protect nitric oxide from being broken down too quickly. When these nutrients are consumed consistently, the body becomes better at maintaining blood vessel flexibility. This does not just affect one area, it improves circulation throughout the entire body, including the heart, brain, muscles, and reproductive organs. Another important factor is that nitric oxide works best when the body is not under constant stress. Chronic stress increases cortisol and adrenaline, which constrict blood vessels and interfere with nitric oxide signaling. This creates a double problem. The body produces less nitric oxide, and what little it produces is less effective. That is why fear, anxiety, and performance pressure can immediately worsen circulation. When men understand that circulation is a chemical process, not a personal failure, stress levels drop, and nitric oxide can do its job more effectively. Over time, supporting nitric oxide production can lead to noticeable changes. Blood vessels become more responsive, circulation improves, and tissues regain sensitivity and warmth. These improvements often happen gradually, which is why patience and consistency are essential. The goal is not a sudden surge, but a steady restoration of the body's natural ability to regulate blood flow. A short example illustrates this well. Consider a 68-year-old man who feels desire and emotional closeness with his partner but experiences unreliable physical response. He assumes this is simply aging and becomes anxious during intimate moments. After learning about nitric oxide, he begins supporting his circulation through morning nutrition and lifestyle changes that reduce stress. Within a month, he notices improved warmth and responsiveness along with greater confidence. His desire never changed. What changed was his blood vessels' ability to respond. Nitric oxide was the missing signal that allowed blood to flow naturally again. Nitric oxide is not about chasing youth or unrealistic expectations. It is about supporting the body's basic communication system that tells blood vessels when to open and relax. For men over 60, maintaining nitric oxide production is one of the most effective ways to preserve circulation, confidence, and quality of life. When blood flows freely, the body responds the way it was designed to, proving that aging does not end vitality. It simply requires smarter support. Beetroot has earned its reputation as one of the most effective natural foods for supporting circulation, especially for men over 60, because it works with the body's own chemistry rather than forcing a temporary effect. At the center of its power are natural nitrates, compounds that the body converts through a simple biological process into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule responsible for telling blood vessels to relax, widen, and allow blood to flow smoothly. When this process functions well, circulation improves throughout the entire body, including areas that depend on strong blood flow for firmness, warmth, and responsiveness. As men age, the body's ability to produce nitric oxide naturally declines, blood vessels become less elastic, and the signals that once told them to open quickly are weaker. This is not a sudden failure, but a gradual slowing, which is why many men feel less responsive, rather than completely unable to respond. Beetroot addresses this exact issue by supplying the raw materials the body needs to restart that signaling process. Instead of stimulating the nervous system or masking symptoms, it supports the underlying mechanism of blood flow itself. One of the reasons beetroot is so effective is that dietary nitrates follow a unique pathway. After consumption, nitrates are absorbed into the bloodstream and concentrated in saliva. Beneficial bacteria in the mouth help convert them into nitrites, which are then further converted into nitric oxide in the body. This means beetroot works best when eaten regularly and naturally, allowing this cycle to repeat day after day. Over time, blood vessels become more responsive, and circulation improves in a steady, sustainable way. Morning consumption plays an important role in maximizing these benefits. After a night of fasting, the body is more sensitive to nutrients, and blood vessels are more receptive to nitric oxide signals. Eating beetroot in the morning, raw, lightly cooked, or blended, allows its nitrates to influence circulation early in the day, setting a healthier blood flow pattern for hours. This early support can make a noticeable difference in how the body feels and responds later, without requiring large amounts or extreme dietary changes. Another advantage of beetroot is that it supports circulation system-wide. The same improved blood flow that benefits intimate areas also supports the heart, brain, and muscles. This is why many men who include beetroot regularly notice additional benefits such as better stamina, warmer hands and feet, and more consistent energy. When circulation improves globally, the body functions more smoothly as a whole, and confidence often returns as a natural side effect. Beetroot also contains antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that protect nitric oxide from being broken down too quickly. Aging is often accompanied by increased oxidative stress, which destroys nitric oxide before it can do its job. By reducing this stress, beetroot helps nitric oxide last longer and work more effectively. This combination of supplying nitrates and protecting nitric oxide makes beetroot especially valuable for older men. It is important to understand that beetroot is not an instant fix. Its strength lies in consistency. Small, regular servings create cumulative effects, gently training blood vessels to relax more easily over time. This gradual improvement is exactly what the aging circulatory system responds to best. Rather than dramatic spikes followed by crashes, beetroot encourages steady, reliable blood flow. A short example helps illustrate this clearly. Imagine a 64-year-old man who feels mentally interested and emotionally connected with his partner, but notices reduced firmness and slower response. He assumes this is simply age and tries to ignore it. After learning about circulation, he begins adding a small serving of beetroot to his morning routine, blended into a simple drink a few times a week. After several weeks, he notices increased warmth and more consistent responsiveness without changing anything else. His confidence improves because his body is responding again, not due to stimulation or pressure, but because blood flow has improved naturally. Beetroot does not work by fighting aging. It works by supporting the body as it ages. By restoring nitric oxide availability and improving blood vessel flexibility, it helps men maintain circulation where it matters most. For men over 60, this makes beetroot more than just a vegetable. It becomes a simple, natural tool for preserving vitality, confidence, and quality of life through smarter daily choices. Consistency is often the most overlooked factor in improving circulation and restoring confidence, especially for men over 60. Many people hope for a quick solution, a single food, supplement, or trick that produces instant results. But the human body does not rebuild itself overnight, particularly when changes have developed gradually over decades. Circulation declines slowly with age as blood vessels lose elasticity, nitric oxide production drops, and daily habits compound their effects. For this reason, the most meaningful improvements come not from dramatic interventions, but from steady, repeated support that allows the body to adapt and recover at its own pace. When circulation-supporting foods are consumed consistently, the body begins to respond in subtle but powerful ways. Blood vessels become more responsive to signals that tell them to relax. The lining of the arteries functions more efficiently. Blood moves more freely into smaller vessels that may have been undersupplied for years. These changes rarely announce themselves loudly at first. Instead, men often notice small signs: warmer hands and feet, a sense of improved vitality, better morning energy, or a more reliable physical response. Each of these signs is evidence that the circulatory system is gradually regaining flexibility and strength. This gradual improvement is important because it mirrors how the problem developed in the first place. Circulation issues are rarely caused by a single event. They result from years of reduced movement, stress, poor sleep, inflammation, and nutritional gaps. Expecting an instant reversal creates frustration and disappointment, which can undermine progress. Consistency, on the other hand, lowers pressure. When a man understands that his role is simply to repeat supportive habits each day, the emotional burden lifts. He is no longer testing his body or anxiously waiting for results. He is allowing change to happen naturally. Confidence plays a crucial role in this process. Confidence does not suddenly return when everything is perfect. It returns gradually as trust in the body is rebuilt. Each small improvement sends a message to the brain that the body is still capable of responding. This reduces anxiety, which is itself a major barrier to healthy circulation. Stress hormones constrict blood vessels and interfere with blood flow. As confidence increases, stress decreases, and circulation improves further. This creates a positive feedback loop where physical improvement and emotional reassurance reinforce one another. Consistency also trains the body to expect support. When circulation-friendly foods are consumed regularly, the body becomes more efficient at using their nutrients. Enzymes involved in nitric oxide production become more active. Blood vessels adapt to frequent relaxation signals. Over time, this makes the circulatory system more resilient, not just temporarily improved. This is why small daily choices are more powerful than occasional large efforts. The body responds best to patterns, not extremes. Another important aspect of consistency is identity. When a man commits to a simple daily habit, he begins to see himself as someone who takes care of his health. This shift in self-perception strengthens motivation and reduces feelings of helplessness. Instead of viewing aging as a steady decline, he begins to experience it as a process he can influence. That sense of agency alone can restore a surprising amount of confidence, independent of physical changes. It is also worth noting that consistency protects against discouragement. On days when progress feels slow, the habit continues anyway. On days when results are noticeable, the habit reinforces them. This steadiness prevents the cycle of hope and disappointment that often accompanies short-term fixes. Over time, men who stay consistent often realize that what once felt like effort has become routine, and what once felt uncertain has become reliable. A short example illustrates this clearly. Consider a 67-year-old man who decides to support his circulation through better morning nutrition. At first, he feels little difference and wonders if it is worth continuing. Instead of stopping, he commits to the routine for several weeks without judging the results. Gradually, he notices increased warmth and more consistent physical responsiveness. Just as importantly, he notices less anxiety and more ease during intimate moments. Nothing changed overnight, but through consistency, his body relearned how to respond, and his confidence returned alongside it. Consistency does not fight aging, it works with it. It respects the body's need for time, repetition, and gentle support. For men over 60, this approach